Right, let's continue now with one of our breaking news stories this morning. The death toll from the shooting incident at the Mdlalose Tavern at the Nomzamo Informal Settlement in Soweto has now risen to 15 people. The incident occurred just after midnight last night. For more on this, let's get the latest update once again. Ofentse Setimo continues to cover that for us in Soweto. Ofentse, I'm not sure exactly where you are now. Do you have perhaps more details at this hour, perhaps that we could share with the viewers a bit more about what could have transpired there?
Thank you very much, Griselda. Well, a lot of information is actually trickling in, especially from community members who are saying it could have been the result of a tribalism. As you know, that there are the Basotho nationals who apparently are having rolling battles with the Xhosas, apparently in this particular area, of which the Xhosas are siding with the community. So there could have been some sort of a battle. But to elaborate a bit further on this and some of the nature of the crime that actually happens on the ground, I am joined by Ofentse Setimo, who's one of the community security cluster leaders here in Soweto. Ofentse, thank you so much for your time, sir. I heard you say that, you know, there's a lot of tribalism and battles that are happening in this area. Just elaborate a bit further on that.
Thank you very much. Morning. Yes, there is, because of this has been happening for a while. You see, there have been a lot of shooting, not now, even a long time ago. If you can recall, there was a arrest which was made in Vepenach, whereby they've arrested 16 taxis. They were from Lesotho. They were Soweto nationals with big calibers which they've shot. They were shooting with the police. If you can remember, it did come to the news, but nothing had been done. So if you've got a lot of people coming from outside, they come here and they come with a lot of guns, which is illegal, but they still let them be here and do what they're doing. It shows that something's wrong here. Minister have to say, you know what, this thing beat me. He needs help. So us down here, we are saying we are here, we can do it, but we need more enforcement. We need soldiers to come on so that we can deal with this.
And the police seems to be failing in their social compact that they have to serve and protect the community, where someone was saying that they are not able to enter informal settlements where apparently these guys have high caliber weapons. So what needs to be done if even the police are not able to effect the law?
Let the police work hand in hand with the community. We've got units which are running around, which are very strong. We've got STU, STF, you know, we've got a lot of security people which are running here down, who are getting the information directly from the sources, which the police now are failing to work hand in hand with them because of the ignorant. We don't know if it's politicians, because of that they want to open the gates. You must remember. They are the only people to be blamed. The politicians who open the gates for these people to come to create this nonsense in here.
But what is the issue of contention, especially when you mention the issue of tribalism that you mentioned between the Xhosas and the Basotho nationals that are residing here? What is the issue of contention between them? Because there's not a lot of mines in close proximity, especially to this area.
Remember what I will tell you. If they come here with no money, they work to get money. They want to settle. Where they look at where they can settle. Then a politician come and say, there's a place there, go and put your shacks there. They come, they end up owning the place. So Immigration Act needs to be effective. We need to start now saying that we work hand in hand, the community, the police, law enforcement, Immigration Act, we need to come together. So probably we might come to the solution. Politicians, we need to push them aside. Honestly, be independent, just to see that how can we do this.
Yes. And you also mentioned that, you know, there's a restriction in terms of the caliber of weapons that the security companies can use, but unfortunately the criminals are able to even far exceed the weapons that are in the possession of the police, hence making the situation as undesirable as it is here. Elaborate a bit further on that.
You know, as a security companies that we have in the account, we are only limited for firearms that we have to use. Because of the act, we understand. But now the problem is, if the criminals got bigger machine like AK-47, I mean, honestly, you should start on seeing what can be done, you know, to open the laws so that we can have an access now as a security companies to buy firearms to protect our people. You see, that's why we're calling to the minister to look at it, not to cut us out of getting that. Just to open it so that we can be able to protect our people with the police. As much as all of us, we are in the security cluster.
And then what can be done, because they're also saying that, the police don't actually come and patrol areas like this one. They only react once a crime has been committed. But in terms of crime prevention and using the intelligence with the community to prevent such acts from taking place, it doesn't happen,
Yeah, in terms of the patrolling, I want to be honest to you. We need to have sympathy even to some people. You just go to be a policeman because of, you want job. But the people who are there outside who want to be police because they're not qualified and who want to die even there working for the community. So it's a very sad situation whereby you end up not getting enough patrols. So if you go deep into shacks, if you go looking for criminals, you might not come back. You see, but there are people who are willing to say, I will die, I can die for my community. Let me do this. So they've been denied to do what they want to do. So that's the situation that you are facing.
The legislation also, I've spoken to a few of the police officers on the ground, and they're saying if there's a serious crime scene, they avoid it, because sometimes when they start shooting, they're the ones that get in trouble with the law. So to a certain extent, the legislation itself, do you think it's sufficient enough and empowering to the police to tackle such serious crimes?
That one, honestly, it needs a sitting down with politicians, actually. They need to say this Human Rights Commission thing, which now they have to come and say what do they see here? Are they like what they're seeing here? Because of that, the people who are protecting them. You see, when the police are shooting them, they will come and say this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But now people are dead here. Let them come and answer for themselves. You understand? Honestly, because of that, the cause of this thing. Police cannot act. They can't act. Security, we've got lines. We can't act. We have to wait to be shot first. Then if you're shot, if you die on the spot, then how can you retaliate to them? How can you defend your people? Our people are vulnerable. The people are vulnerable of this. Crime is killing our people.
So you're saying politicians have made the environment conducive for violent crime to thrive in the country?
They did it purposely. Purposely. If I'm a politician, I will say to people, foreigner people, South Africa is yours. Imagine if there's a shacks around Soweto, it's called by Maseru. Can you go to Lesotho and call Maseru Soweto? You can't. There's Lagos here, in Soweto, in South Africa. Why? Why that? Because we thought there were enough problems here. Honestly, these people, they just did this purposely so that they can mess with us here in South Africa, so that we can be vulnerable. So tomorrow we'll be stats. It's what they want only. So people need to see and wake up and say this is wrong. Politicians need to go away. So we become independent and run our thing.
And the community safety MEC was even saying that there should also be vigilance from the communities themselves. Communities should mobilize themselves, because I think the first responder would be your neighbor or whoever, and it would be your neighbor if there is an arrangement in place that if in case of emergency there should be a whistle or whatever, then there would be a response. What is your reaction to that the community must also take part in ensuring that their area is safe?
I will tell you the honest truth. The community, it does taking that, they are doing their part. But the community cannot fight with people with AK-47s. They cannot. Something needs to be done. The community come to us as leaders, as security cluster, and they tell us whatever they can tell us that, listen, this is a situation. Even us as security cluster, we cannot go deep, because we do tell the police that this is the situation. And the police will say, hey, we cannot go that far. So that's the situation that we have. They are also restricted, we are also even limited in terms of doing things. But the community, they are doing their part, honestly.
Thank you very much. Well, as you heard, that's Mafahling Selepe, part of the security cluster that's working here with the community of Soweto, actually saying that there are apparently no-go areas where even the police are not able to enter those areas due to the high caliber of weapons of which the residents of those particular informal settlements are actually carrying. He reiterated a call by the community of this area that, the first in command, the president himself, needs to actually issue a statement that the soldiers should come on the ground as they have similar caliber weapons in order to take on some of the gangs that are terrorizing communities here. Criselda?
Ofentse, thank you very much indeed. I think it's going to be a very long day where you are. Thank you indeed for bringing us the latest out of Soweto. 15 people now dead there. Thanks indeed for following that story.